Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For this video, as you can tell by the title, we are going to be sitting down and discussing the topic of rejection. But before we jump into this video, make sure to follow me on all my social medias. The usernames are down below. And without further ado, let's jump right into this video. Okay, so I just want to jump in and apologize for the audio once again. If you watched my last video, you know that I held up the microphone a little too close to my mouth because I was trying to avoid the buzzing sound that happens in the upstairs room. And I filmed this video and my last week's video in the same day, so I have the same problems. But in future videos, this will not happen. All right, so let's jump back into the video. Okay, so I really feel like rejection is one of those things where everyone is going to experience it. Like, there's no way around rejection, and it's all about how we navigate it. And so I wanted to sit down and make this video because I am in a season where I am experiencing a lot of rejection. I just graduated college. I am now in that phase where I am trying to find a job, trying to build a business, trying to do all these things. And as someone who is constantly putting themselves out there, which opens yourself up to rejection, I've learned a lot and I just want to share it with you guys. So let's jump into the ways that we can navigate rejection and look at it differently. So one of the major things I notice for me when it comes to navigating rejection is to have a perspective shift. Mindset is everything. The way you look at rejection is what is going to determine how you navigate it and how you handle it. So it's all about the beliefs you have about it and the attitudes you attach to it. So there's two affirmations I use every time I experience rejection. The first one, what is for you will not pass you. You guys may think it's redundant. You guys may think it's cliche at this point, but affirmations, they work. Your brain is like, I'm not too technical on this, but your brain is like a machine. It takes in and it stores the information and the thoughts that you give it. So whenever you reject it, if you're like, oh dang, then I am as a person that's getting rejected, like something's being taken away from me, you're gonna start believing that. That's gonna be on rotation in your head. But if you say, what is for me will not pass me, instantly your perspective will shift. And you're like, okay, cool, that passed me. Maybe there's something better for me out there. And that is something that has really helped me whenever I get rejected, because I'm like, okay, cool, that just wasn't for me, that's for someone else. And I'm a huge believer in that. What is for you will not pass you. And if you start to believe that yourself, whenever you get rejected, it's not going to phase you as much as it would if you believe that you're somehow being denied as a person and that you're somehow inadequate and lack the skills and the talents to achieve whatever you're setting out to do. So that's the first perspective shift. The second one is rejection is redirection. I remember hearing this from Kaylani in one of her interviews and it stuck with me. It stuck with me like sticky glue. And so as someone who really believes that, everyone has their own individual journeys and every experience that we have in life is a teaching experience. So whenever we experience rejection, I just believe that, okay, let's just pivot. Kind of like when I didn't get into that performing arts school that I wanted to get into, it prompted me to pivot and see a whole different world I would have never considered. Like, I'll always reminisce and try to imagine oh my gosh, what would my life have been like if I did not pivot? I would be a completely different person. And it's kind of like that movie. Okay, so there's this movie called Look Both Ways. And I'm surprised it's not as talked about as other movies. Anyway, it's on Netflix. And so basically the main character in the opening scenes, she has a little entanglement with her college friend before graduation. And they're at a party and her and her friend are in the bathroom. Okay, I haven't watched it in a while, but I believe that she was having symptoms or whatever after having the rendezvous with her college boo a few days prior. And she was like, girl, I'm not feeling too good, all this other stuff. And her friend was like, take a pregnancy test. Ouch. And this is right before, they are about to graduate college. And, with that comes with new beginnings. The world is your oyster, as they say. And so obviously, if she was pregnant, a lot of people would think oh my gosh, your life is about to be completely different than what you imagine. Okay, pause. So she has this pregnancy test, right? And she's sitting on the toilet. And that's when the movie takes off. It takes off in 2 dimensions. So one is showing what her life would have looked like if she is pregnant, and then the other side is showing her life if the pregnancy test is negative. And so, and it's, I just love it so much because in the movie it just shows how different versions of herself existed from just one tiny decision or like situation in life. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I hope that makes sense up until this point. And so all of that to say is we just never know. Sometimes we think we know like how things will play out and what is really best for us, but like I really believe that overall our individual journeys are guided. It's guided by our higher selves, it's guided by God, guided by the universe. And if we really trust in that, and we trust that, some higher entity, some higher power wants the best for us, then you will believe that whenever you experience rejection, you just need to pivot because that's going to lead to something better. Okay, so moving on. The second thing that really helped me whenever I experience rejection is to not take it personally. This is really important. And I learned this from the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Guys, I always say his name wrong in all my book recommendation videos. Don Miguel Ruiz. And it's a short little book, and one of the agreements is do not take things personally. And the whole basis behind the book is that whenever we accept an opinion or a certain view of things, it becomes our belief. It becomes a belief. So if we believe that when we get rejected that we are unworthy and we take that in and accept that, it becomes a belief. But if we experience rejection and we say, okay, cool, it's just not for me, that becomes your belief. Like, rejection is just redirection. What is for me will not pass me. I know it's easier said than done, but just having that moment, that pause, like after you experience rejection, whether it's big or small, just saying, okay, cool, and detach yourself from it and tell yourself this has nothing to do with my self-worth, then you will start to view rejection differently and have a better relationship with it. There's really no other way to practice this step than to keep exposing yourself to rejection and not taking it personally and not letting it have an impact on your self-worth and your self-esteem. You owe it to yourself to build a better relationship with who you are and have that foundation. So whenever you go out into the world and you get rejected, you will already have a foundation to where it's not going to be easily rocked once you experience those rejections. Okay, and so the next one kind of ties into what we just talked about, and that is to start building your self-worth that is detached from external validation. And this is hard because a lot of us grow up in a society where like we're taught to seek our sense of self and our self-worth in external things. But once you learn to detach from those things and not view external things as yourself and have your internal sense of self-worth as your reference point to who you are, then rejection won't be as big of a deal as it would if you don't have that internal reference point detached from external things. And so small things you could do to start building this up, because I know a lot of people, like whenever I say or whenever people tell you, okay, you need to stop attaching who you are to external things, you're like, okay, how do I do that? Well, small little things you could do. For one, you have to start spending time with yourself. If you don't spend time with yourself, you won't know who you are. Because whenever we navigate and go through the world, learning how to attach ourselves to money, to titles, to accolades, to what's in our bank account, we are so conditioned to do that whenever those things are taken away, we're like, okay, confusion, who am I? Whenever those external things are taken away, who are you? That's what you're trying to get to the root of. So that's why spending time with yourself is so important. And journaling is another thing. Journaling your thoughts, doing journal prompts, asking yourself and reflecting, what things am I drawn to? Who am I outside of these external things? And with time, the more you do that, you will start to realize there is a you that can operate without external validation and external things to attach to your name. And the next thing to start building this good relationship with yourself is to start setting small goals unique to you that starts building your confidence in yourself and your ability to really do things in your life and to stick to things in your life. Like, this has been a a point of contention for me, because ever since like leaving college, like I talked about this in some of my videos, where it's like for a lot of people too, like we've had this structure in our life for so long with like school and stuff like that. Like everything was kind of like planned out for us. So when we're pushed out into the world after college and have to really structure our days and stuff like that, it can be hard to stick to things because we don't have that pressing, like, test coming up. So whenever we're in the world and we don't have that many pressing things besides like bills and stuff, holding us to following through on creative projects or passions or hobbies, like we start losing that trust with ourselves and that belief in ourselves that we can actually stick to the things that we say we're going to do. So setting small and achievable goals throughout your life is going to help build that self-worth and that self-confidence in yourself. So whenever you go out to the world and experience rejection, you already have a strong sense of who you are, that like the rejection won't phase you as much. And last but not least, this ties into what we said earlier, and that's to affirm yourself daily. I'm a huge meditator. I'm a huge believer in meditation, but you don't have to meditate in order to affirm yourself daily. Like you can affirm yourself in the morning as you're brushing your teeth. It's cliche, but write it down on a sticky note, post it on your mirror, and say it every day. Like even though in the process you may not feel like it's doing anything, like subconsciously it is doing something to your subconscious. Like we are run by our subconscious brain. That's where our beliefs are stored. And the more we repeat things and statements to ourselves, the more that is going to be stored in our subconscious, and the more that we're going to start believing that. So affirming yourself daily, saying that you are worthy for all the things that you want in life, for all the things you're trying to achieve in life. And so whenever you start having these firm beliefs in yourself, whenever you're facing rejection, it's easier to navigate, because like it's just gonna like really fall right off your back, because like you know who you are. You don't need other people to tell you who you are, because you already know. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about today. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down below in the comment section. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. And guys, make sure to subscribe to this channel, because I started using the community tab and asking you guys what you guys want to see on this channel, and I just love engaging and seeing that my videos are actually resonating with people, actual people, not just numbers. So make sure to do that, and yeah, make sure to stay inspired, and Leah loves you.